Monkey funny. Robots. Animals. Two things kids think are really cool. So what if we combine them? And that is how we got Zoids. Gotta love Zoids. We need more Zoids. Oh yeah, Beast Wars existed too. Probably should have led with that. After this long and arduous journey, we end up here. The end of the line. These movies once dominated Hollywood. Blockbusters that broke records year after year. And now in the year of our Lord 2023, most people probably forgot that this thing even came out. Poor Optimus got banished to the Shadow Realm by Barbenheimer. We could blame Transformers 5 for that. But even after the worst inferno, there will always be something to regrow in its place. If Transformers 5 was the fire, Bumblebee was the seed, and Rise of the Beast was the little bud that popped out of the ground. What will this series eventually grow into? Who knows? I guess my analogy here is they're just gonna keep making these movies. In one shape or another, Paramount is desperate. Before making this video, I figured everyone had watched this movie like I did. I completely forgot how this film did at the box office. Silly me. I was originally gonna just talk about my thoughts on the movie, but nobody saw it. Either way, let's do a quick summary of the plot so we're all on the same page. I'm gonna try to keep it short. So, this one has Unicron. Yeah, in this little reboot, they went straight to Unicron, a movie that takes place in 1994. Instead of 80s California, we're now in 90s New York City, also known as the best New York City. But our protagonist isn't Jerry Seinfeld, it's this guy, Noah Diaz. He's from Brooklyn, and he'll remind you he's from Brooklyn as much as the f***ing Mario Brothers.
You did it! Brooklyn, baby! Brooklyn, baby.
It doesn't get annoying at all. He's down on his luck, looking for a job to make money for his sick little brother. After getting turned down time and time again, he gets desperate and resorts to crime. He teams up with this shady guy who tells him to go jack a Porsche. Just so happens that this Porsche can jack him back. Wait, that came out wrong. Back to Unicron, he eats up planets. And he ate up the home world of the Maximals. Maximals are Transformers that instead of turning into vehicles, they turn into animals. Turn into their little fursonas. Why did I keep that in the script? Honestly, anyone that didn't know Beast Wars before this movie was probably confused as hell, right? Like, why do they turn into animals? The movie never says. The show does, but I don't think the movie does. Like, I've rewatched it. Unicron is after a portal key that opens wormholes across space, and it lets him travel wherever in the universe to gobble up planets faster. The Maximals have it, but before his goons can get it, the Maximals flee the planet and go to Earth. This portal key is our MacGuffin for the movie. You know how these things go. Anyway, Noah is trapped inside a Porsche that he tried to steal, and it drives off with him inside. After those wacky shenanigans, he meets the Autobots.
You brought a human here?
Roping him into something greater than himself. The key MacGuffin just starts shining a beacon that only Transformers can see. Somebody's gonna have to break in and get it. You gotta go commit a felony, Noah. You gotta do it for Optimus Prime. Can't let Scourge win. Scourge is the head of the Terrorcons. Don't worry, we'll talk about him later. Terrorcons aren't Decepticons, or even Predacons, who are the real enemies of the Maximals. They're like this entirely other thing. They just do Unicron's bidding, and there's only 5 of them. The Terrorcons want the MacGuffin to summon Unicron, and the Autobots want the MacGuffin so they can go back to Cybertron. These two run into each other, and so do these two factions. Bumblebee fucking dies. Yeah, he dies again. He's like Kenny of Transformers now. The Terrorcons got the key, but apparently it's only one half to a whole, as the Maximals split it in the past just in case something like this happened, and the second half is down in the land of Peru. So the gang goes inside this guy and flies to South America. How often do movies really take place in Peru? I'm not talking about that one. They have to sneak into this town during a festival and open a hidden entrance. An entrance to the ruins of an ancient civilization. It's pretty crazy how nobody rotated these 4 identical stones in over 500 years. Uh-oh, Scourge is back, and a chase scene ensues. After escaping into the woods, the gang runs into the rest of the Maximals, including Optimus Primal. That's his name. I want to know people's reaction to this if they didn't watch Beast Wars. Big Monkey Man knows where the key really is, and suddenly Airazor goes crazy because she's been corrupted by Scourge's power spit. In the confusion, Scourge steals the key, and after that, The rest of the movie is just kind of a giant action scene. Scourge tries to open the portal to Unicron. Unicron shows up and nobody on Earth seems to notice because there's a big storm that covers the sky and their vision. Imagine this happening in 1994 and people just don't bring it up again. There wasn't a single astronaut that saw that outside their window. The Autobots and Maximals team up. Bumblebee comes back to life because Energon. And, yeah, the day's saved. Noah goes back to New York and continues searching for his job. A new sense of purpose after his time with the Transformers. And then the interview kind of takes a turn.
We know a lot about you, Mr. Diaz.
Who are you, like the CIA or FBI or...
The guy hands him a card and opens up a wall. And he tells Noah his organization could use him in the Transformers. Noah looks at the card.
G.I. Joe.
It's fucking G.I. Joe.
What?
I'm a computer. Stop all the downloading. G.I. Joe.
So I have some thoughts. In a franchise of brutal lows, and even lower lows, there are a lot of movies we can compare Rise of the Beast to. So after watching this movie, twice, what did I think of it? It's alright. Thanks for watching. This is one of those movies that work well in certain moments, but it just never really adds up to anything substantial.
What the hell am I looking at?
It's got stuff for the fans, it has decent action, but the story is just a little off. A death by 1,000 cuts. Death in this case being a 6 out of 10. But Cody, you say, this movie wasn't a Michael Bay movie. How could it not be good? Well, strawman I just made up, Michael Bay wasn't the only thing holding these movies back. And also, just because something is alright, doesn't mean it's bad. Like McDonald's, Rise of the Beast is a perfectly serviceable movie. One that I could see fans of Transformers really liking, because it has Optimus and the Danimals. But for the general audience, it's just sort of there, and they shrug at it. This movie did not do well at the box office. I guess last night's legacy still haunts the Transformers name.
Come.
Like a phantom. But if people had faith that this movie could right the wrongs of the past, then I guess they'd be pleasantly surprised. Let's start off this positive. Why not? The things I liked.
The era.
Bumblebee was 80s, 80s, 80s. I'm sick of the 80s. This is just New York in the 90s. Desolate subway trains and everything.
Noah.
I like Noah. He's probably the most likable human protagonist, really.
Who are you, human?
I'm nobody. I ain't even seen nothing. I'm not even seeing anything right now.
Like, think about this. Sam was mainly a punching bag. Cade was, and Charlie was certainly an upgrade, but if you didn't much relate to her grief, I could see some getting annoyed by her. Noah's just like a guy, and he gets wrapped up in all of this.
Mirage.
I find Pete Davidson's recent ascension into pop culture mainly just puzzling. Like, I don't hate him, but I don't find him particularly funny, and I don't know anybody else who does. Does he just bang a lot of celebs?
Yeah, I'm walking to Peru.
He's nothing like his Gen 1 counterpart, but he brings a relaxed energy to an Autobot cast that's pretty serious most of the time. He's almost too relaxed. Like, how did he even end up like this?
Oh, they're flying now? They fly now!
The designs for all the bots were pretty good. Optimus for the first time actually looks like Optimus. They're all pretty perfectly spot on, except for Wheeljack. My god, what happened to Wheeljack? Man, what else? I like Peru? Man, I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel with praise, huh? How many people are still here? Why is this called Rise of the Beasts? When do the beasts ever rise? I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to see the beasts in general. Should have been called Rise of Bird Lady, because she's the only Maximal we see for most of the movie. When we heard years ago there was going to be a Beast Wars movie, I really expected Beast Wars. These guys are more wasted than my Uncle Rico after slamming back too many Dos Equis. Michelle Yeoh is used for an exposition machine. Ron Perlman Optimus Primal just stands around sounding stoic. You could have used anyone with a deep voice. Could have used the original voice for Primal. He doesn't even say that's just Prime even once.
Well, that's just Prime.
For shame. Like, Cheetor is the youngest and most reckless. He's like Bumblebee, but more prone to fucking up.
I'll be moving too fast for them to see me.
He gets one line.
Sorry about scaring you, brother.
Rhinox was strong, but also smart. You rarely get a character in fiction that's both brawn and brains.
Man, I gotta be a miracle worker.
He's like Ratchet and Ironhide slammed together. In the movie, he's a rhino. The worst sin of all, though, the most unforgivable crime, is there isn't even Rat Trap.
Hey, you want me to show you just how Velociraptors got extinct?
Rat Trap, my boy, where are you? It's alluded that these Maximals are like the last ones, so I think he might be dead. Who knows? These aren't their characters, they're just their animals. Even then, it's still not done well. Airazor gets infected by a Scourge, and knows she's been infected, but then just does nothing.
He leaves a mark, but I'll be alright.
The one character that knows what's going on could have chose to fly away, but she instead waits until Scourge takes over her brain, so the key can get stolen, and the plot can happen. Wow. The Maximals really don't show up until right before the final fight. The movie's marketed like this to get butts in the seats. Really no different than the Dinobots in 4, or Evil Optimus in 5. There's never even an explanation for why they're animals. In the show, it's because they couldn't be outside in their regular robot forms because of energon exposure. Not the best explanation, but it's something. They're on an animal planet, so they gotta take the form of local animals. Makes sense. In the movie, they're just animals, because that's what the show was. We were expecting a Beast Wars movie, and are still gonna have to wait on that Beast Wars movie. They don't even fight the Predacons. They fight Scourge and his gang. And Scourge and his gang are,
You think you can take me on alone?
Even though Unicron is the overall threat in this movie, he's just a big planet. If he actually got involved, everyone would die. And it's the 90s, so you know that's not gonna happen. Optimus and his friends have to fight somebody though, and that somebody is Unicron's minions, the Terracons, led by Scourge. Scourge is the worst villain in the whole series. My god.
Awaken my dark master.
Yeah, worse than the Fallen, or Quintessa, because at least their voice actors could voice act. At least they gave a shit. As you see, Scourge is voiced by Peter Dinklage. Every line he says is stilted and awkward.
Rip the flesh from their bones and bring me the key. Master, the reinforcements!
Can we replace him with Nolan North in this movie too? One thing they can't patch up though, are the visuals. If you've been looking at the clips, come on, you might have thought it too. This movie kind of looks cheap, right? Transformer movies, despite failing in basically every department, have never really had bad CGI. Yeah, even Transformers 5. And yet, Rise of the Beasts is the first one where I think it kind of looks a little wonky. I would say what happened to the CGI, but considering how overworked special effects studios are nowadays, I think we all know the answer to that. Every Transformers movie has been animated by Industrial Light and Magic, but for the first time, Rise of the Beast was handled by another studio, MPC. I don't think the CGI is really MPC's fault. Can't really blame them when every CGI studio has been obliterated by horrendous schedules and industry practices. The budget for this was about the same as the first Transformers movie, even bringing into account inflation. These two are almost 20 years apart. It frankly just looks rough. Characters pop out of obvious backgrounds, and part of that is not helped out by the directing. This was directed by Stephen Caple Jr., a guy who only directed 3 movies, including this one. And while Creed 2 is great, that's an entirely different genre than a big robot action movie. It feels like it's trying to be Michael Bay without Michael Bay. It's Diet Bay, and his absence is really felt. Action doesn't have as much weight to it. It's not truly disorienting like Last Night, but none of it really comes together. By the final fight, it's a gray CGI mess. You know how Bumblebee speaks with his radio in all the other films?
Down like visitors from heaven, hallelujah!
Yeah, now he exclusively repeats movie lines.
What the hell am I looking at?
You can't handle the truth.
I have come here to kick ass. Not on my watch.
It's terrible.
I do not want you going to that drive-in theater anymore.
I am so sorry if you found out through this video, but yeah, G.I. Joe now exists in the Transformers universe. They're making a Hasbro-verse, baby. It's kind of poetic that the whole reason this movie series even began in the first place was because they didn't want to make a G.I. Joe movie so close to the Iraq War. And now we end the standalone series with G.I. Joe. It's poetic in a way. Is this in a way an end to the Transformers live-action series like we've known it? Yeah, pretty much. From what they're saying, like any future incarnation will have Optimus and pals teaming up with other Hasbro properties. Are they all gonna fight on a battleship? Maybe learn that friendship is magic from Rainbow Sparkle or whatever the fuck? Everyone wants their cinematic universe. And for that, they kind of threw this movie under the bus. A common complaint I've seen about Beast is that it feels like 3 movies slammed together. You got Beast Wars, Unicron, and then whatever the hell the final battle is. Apparently they were hoping to turn this into a trilogy and expand on the Maximals in a sequel. But considering this movie's box office, I'm a little doubtful about that sequel. Rise of the Beasts is flawed, but enjoyable. It does what it sets out to do. Be a Transformer movie. The bots are characters more than ever. It doesn't feel ashamed to be a movie about transforming robots. It doesn't try to make its concepts seem more mature than they really are. And it's not an entirely different type of movie that just happens to have Transformers. Kind of like a big episode of a TV show. And I mean that in both a positive and negative way. A lot of fans of Transformers will get something out of it. But I think for a lot of the general audience, they're pretty much gonna forget about it. And after the path that we've been on, the numerous war crimes we have witnessed, you know, is that so bad? At least it isn't a hellish abomination. Transformers was able to pick itself up and end things right on a middle-of-the-road action flick. That's a better fate than most franchises can really ask for. So there you go. Rise of Beef. Man, I guess I've talked about every Transformers movie. That's weird. Well, all except for one. I guess you can say, I've saved the best for last. Which is kind of ironic, considering it was the first.
G.I. Joe!